To an End, Redefine, 12 tracks, 49 minutes, debut album from the Melbourne metal band, released November 2018. Produced by Chris Nelk at Monolith Studios, that's 2 for 2 in this episode. 2 singles have been released in Fractured and Wasteland. This album features guest spots from Chris Arnott and Chris Clancy, and there's a few familiar faces making up this band overall. Tim?
For me, this was a bit of a mixed bag. It was sort of had that sort of alternative metal kind of vibe to it. Everything was there. The skeletons were all there. The songwriting was great. Everything fit. But once it came down to putting it on track, it just felt like everyone wanted to get their shit in. And there was a little too much going on for me. Like for mine, when you're playing this kind of style, the vocals really need to sit out the front and everything should support that. And for mine, it didn't really feel like that. It felt a little bit busy and a little bit rushed with a little bit too much going on in the background, particularly in the verses.
Okay.
The melodies were great, the choruses were great, everything that led into the bridge was great, but for mine, again, it just felt a little too busy going into that, and it kind of took away from that. But again, that's just me. I'm sure people will probably think differently. I gave it a 6 out of 10, which feels a little bit harsh, but really for mine, this should have been an 8 or a 9, but it just kind of felt a little bit flat because of those little extra things that kind of made it difficult.
Cool. That's all right.
All right. This, for me, is very much a now-sounding band. And that's the only concern I've got with it, is because it's so now that it's going to get lost very quickly. There's nothing to bring it even into this year. Like, I've already heard these bands quite a few times and this type of sound and everything. And it's almost like it's a year or so too late coming out. Look, it is catchy at times with some heavy grooves. If you like bands like Seven Dust, and a band that we reviewed recently was In the Red. That type of sort of, I don't even know what to call it. It's like heavy rock but very melodic.
The American alternative
modern metal,
which I don't mind it, but there's an influx of too many of these bands doing the same things, and I think this is just another one. I actually thought the album was called Fracture. So I'm glad we redefined that and we fixed it. So
we'll get to it.
Having said that, I mean, I do like bands like Seven Dust and In the Red. I mean, I'm binding In the Red CD and stuff like that. So I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Fracture, Wasteland, We Are Infinite, Out of My Hands, and I thought Dig in the Grave, the cover was kind of cool. I didn't mind the way they did that, and it Collide. So I did like a lot of it. I just thought I've heard a lot of this lately. I think that's why I probably didn't give it a mark or too high.
Yep, fair enough.
Okay. Opens up with a nice melodic intro, and then there's some chunky guitar chords, and then the next song continues on kind of that same vein. Some very powerful vocals throughout this whole thing. Modern hard rock with lots of melody, gets heavier at times when it's needed to serve the songs though, and for dramatic effect. If you like your hard rock with lots of elements of metal, then you'll like this.
School of Hard Locks.
I was thinking
something else.
Listen those tongues, go on.
Some nice chunky guitar riffs, verging into Pantera territory at times, which brings some great diversity to the songs. As I said, the album started off kind of hard rock, so it kind of blends from hard rook to
He has
metal.
been drunk lately. Have you been catching his Facebook posts?
Yes, I've seen copious.
Yes. You didn't know me about 5 years ago. My Facebook memories are fun. The more the album went on, the more I liked it. It's definitely one you can put on over and over and you'll get something more out of it each time. I'm really not much of a Faith No More fan, but I did like the cover of Dig in the Grave. It was really well done. I'm making a habit of not to do any research on these bands that we review, so I know nothing going into this. I'd never heard of this band before. So I was very happy to find out this is a local band, and it's world-class music as far as I'm concerned. And the singer is El Gami from Moments Apart, so I was happy to hear some stuff from him again. It shows a lot more of what he can do with his voice, and he really nailed it on this release. I really like this album. I gave it 9 out of 10.
Wow.
From Grace into Demise, Wasteland, Hear No Evil, Left Untold, and Dig in the Grave from my standouts.
Cool. This was a pretty cool but interesting listening experience for me. I found myself falling in and out of love as it went on.
This isn't really your thing, this sort of stuff.
It's
either,
not.
Really.
And it's weird that you're saying it's very now. It took me to sort of Papa Roach and that kind of thing. I
get why.
That's really where it landed for me a lot of the time, and that's Well, sorry, that's in the parts where I wasn't as thrilled with it. I think is when it was sort of going.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of that now sort of what's happening now sort of thing, and has been for the last 5 or so years. You know, like at least.
But I found it would go from a part that would sort of shit me, that would get a bit that middle of the road, and then it would lift a gear and just go ape shit, and I'd be like, okay, I'm back in.
Yeah.
So that kept happening to me all the way through the listen. So it was really sort of interesting. I think the bigger moments can rival, even Stone Sour and Butterfly Effect and these guys, when they really all land on it. I reckon they hit it pretty well. But I can understand what you were saying, that parts of it were too busy as well. There were times where it sort of felt like there was a bit of a racket going on. But all in all, it's a great sounding album. I think the guitar tones are really nice and tasty. The drum sounds really crisp. I think the vocals come together really nicely, and some of the backups are really clever. I like that as well. So all in all, good solid album. I give it 8 out of 10. The highlights were Fracture, Hear No Evil, Wasteland, and Open Season.
We agree on something.
We do.
That's a first. For mine, if you like Stone Sour or Seven Dust, I think that's your entry point for a band like this. It's got heavy riffs, big melodies, some pretty cool hooks in there. This band is really tight and they chug along nicely overall. This isn't about pace. They use the space in the songs well. I know that you guys... I get what you're saying about the busyness of it, but I liked the tempos and the rhythms that they employed in those moments. So while I get that people can think it's busy, for me it was actually kind of like, okay, I enjoyed that part because it kept it... Different things to listen to at different times you went through it, kind of thing for me. It's got a bit of weight in this, which is where the heaviness is. It's not about just going balls to the wall heaviness. It's got the emotive and the sonic weight to it. These guys can play, that's for sure. This gets more technical than you'd expect. And it hits that side of metal pretty well in the breakdown, so I thought they were done well. Which maybe where the people will jump in and out on those breakdown moments. It's big, powerful stuff. The lyrics are really well done. It's well composed. I thought the energy was good on this release. It's got groove, swing, swagger for mine, and I loved some of the riffs on this. I thought they were fantastic. Themelko was the right producer for this band. He was the one that he captured them and presented them really well. It really rides that edge of the loudness versus compression kind of thing, and he nailed it on that one. Not a lot of headroom, and that suits that style really well. For mine, which is a taste thing, not an overall critique, I like a little bit more space in there, just to allow things to breathe a bit more, because I don't want it to fall victim of the loudness war, because what happens on the next record, I mean, there wasn't be the next one to be louder and all sorts of stuff, and you're not leaving a lot of room to play with. And I would have liked a little more top end in the mix overall, just to give it some more life, some more breath in the... Because it is you listen to this, in my listening, or I listen to this after listening to Massive, and Massive has a very different mix to this, which is actually a credit to Themelko and the work he does in the same studio. Yeah. But it's the difference of the tonal range on the Massive record, I would have liked to have heard that applied to what was brought out on this one. I thought the songs, though, were well crafted. The rhythm is fantastic. I love the timing and how the vocals and lyrics fit in with the rhythm aspect of the band. I thought the track order was good as well. It doesn't get too soft or too punishing at any point. Good use of light and shade to keep you locked in on listen. And for me, it was more surprising the deeper I got into it. Well crafted. The cover of Digging the Grave from Faith No More was well done. Good touch on that. I thought this is a good up-tempo release with more than enough diversity to keep coming back for more. I'd like to see this live. I think it'd be powerful, even if they get close to this in the live environment. It'd be a great live show. The soft closer in Collide was a really nice touch as well. Shows there's more doors to go through with this band in the future as they go along. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Fracture, Hear No Evil, Left Untold, Open Season, and Collide were my standouts. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think. To an end. To an end. The funniest thing about this review is that Nick was the one that wanted us to review this, and twice now he's missed out on reviewing it. Yeah. So, fuck you, we're doing it anyway. Who wants to go first on this one?
Tim. Yeah, okay.
Enthused?
So volunteering.
Yeah, if I have to. Okay.
Fine.
If I have to. Alright, ready?
Yo.